is really critical, folks, especially in our industry. We talk about the things that anything that's ever been done on a PC, including the stuff that's been deleted, now has a Windows recall feature on new Microsoft implementations. In other words, AI will go and find stuff that you thought you lost. It's kind of a handy tool. What if that was then exposing the things that we had purposely thrown away, didn't want anymore, and then maybe if that was breached, where does that go, right? So we really want to understand that while in this case it was promised to have heavy encryption and protect the data, it's basically baking a keylogger into Windows as a feature. And it is a feature. You can use it wisely and intelligently, and if it's never breached, you're probably in an okay place. If it's never breached, right? That's my concern. That's when the hairs in the neck, on the back of my neck stand up, because I start worrying about, is that real? Is it really that they have provided everything they think they do and it's unhackable? It's not. There's no such thing. In fact, one of our people were out at a county ECC, and they said their network was impenetrable. The problem with that assumption is then we assume that we can't be broken into and we shouldn't worry about it because it's impenetrable. And my thought process is always around, but what if, right? What if that's going to happen anyway? Not even if, but when. So when we look at that, we say, well, how did they apply this to the design of this new AI feature? Well, in this case, the assumption was it would always be protected and never have an issue. And we know that's not the world in which we live. So we have to be careful when we design things like this and give people the decision whether or not to use this and how it's used, because then we can protect ourselves. In March, DocuSign updated its FAQ to state if you have given a contractual assent, we may use your data to train DocuSign's in-house proprietary AI models. In other words, we're going to use all the data we've gotten from you. And in DocuSign is a lot of, in my opinion, very, very critical information that is private. And so how are they going to use that? Well, does that mean it can't use DocuSign anymore? And that might actually be the answer, because you can't trust them because they're saying they're going to use it for their tools. And what does that mean? Well, that means it might be exposed, right? In my world, there is no impenetrable network. And we can do a really good job and make sure it's as tough to get into as we can make it. But there's no 100% guarantee. That's not the world in which we live. So our assumption should be, yes, we trust we've done this right, but we need to verify. We need to do all the steps to make sure. And that's really what happened in May. A similar AI scare had Slack users up in arms, with many criticizing the vague data policies after it emerged that by default, their data, including messages, content, and files, was being used to train Slack's global AI models. Well, how did that AI model come to be, and who has access to it, and what future access might pertain to that if they were going to sell off that data, that language model it built? Would our data be cleaned in that process? And I doubt it, right? Because there's a lot of data and it's really hard to go through it all. So we have to be concerned that that is too much, too inclusive, too easy for our privacy to be exposed. And we're seeing this. Vendors are increasingly tempted to harvest data and then worry about after people complain, right? Well, we can't do that. It has to be from the beginning. And we have to check the T&Cs to make sure that they're not slipping something by us